पॉलिसी बाजार पर 1 करोड़ रुपए का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस केवल 450 रुपए महीने से शुरू। वाह!
It was the whole thing. Yeah. Greetings and welcome to the Gadget 360 show year ender, and I have to tell you the response to show 1 has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, and a lot of you added a lot of things that I have to cover today on the show, so I will do that. The guests that are joining me, of course, are again the two big gurus of tech. Nishant joins me from Mumbai. Gaurav joins me right here from Delhi. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you so much for wearing the exact same clothes that you wore last week. I know it was part of something that I asked you to do. Continuity भी कुछ होती है यार. मतलब, you know, movies नहीं कर रहे हम लोग अभी तो क्या हुआ, but continuity तो होनी चाहिए. Of course. Right? But thank you so much everybody else who's joining me, and a lot of you have written a lot of suggestions. We will cover all of that. But I'm going to start off, Gaurav, with you. Innovation of the year.
Unnecessary innovation?
Anything. It's your opinion.
The Dysons, of course.
Okay.
I mean, who needs, but still we have an option?
But you know, both, Nishant, I think if I remember correctly, in previous week's show, and you said it right now, now it would be fun if this becomes a really big seller, right? I mean, that would be, let's say, a tech mein poetic justice, right? You know, none of us have really tried it.
Yeah.
Could really be something that is, wow.
But I mean, at $1,000?
Okay. अब देखो, wow. अब लोग जो है कुछ घड़ियां भी पहनते हैं उस प्राइस पे तो. All right, Nishant, according to you.
For me, I think it's an audio product because you know me and I've always had my
I was shocked it could be anything else.
I think the Deviale Dion, which is a soundbar that doesn't require any external subwoofer and still goes down to about 40 hertz, which is as good as having an external 12-inch subwoofer, all from something that is as slim as 4 inches. It's incredible. It has 17 built-in speakers, so you really don't need to put any surround speakers or anything else besides this one soundbar. Of course, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea in terms of both the entry point as well and the size.
Why don't you tell everybody the price for this soundbar so that we just put it in context, no?
It's not too expensive. It's under 2.5 lakhs. So I didn't say that, did I? But it's not.
I know. I actually agree with you. I was very surprised. According to me, it was just specs because you put in the 40 number and all of that, but it delivers. So I'm very glad that he's actually taken that up. Okay, let's straight away move into our first category. I'll start this off. According to me, in televisions, I thought the interesting thing that happened was all these rebrandings or third party like a Kodak or a Motorola or a Nokia TV coming in. That was something that was happening the previous years also. But this year it woke up the legacy brands like the Sony, Samsung and LG to say, "Arey, ek series hum bhi nikal lete hain aise hi." And it really created a great market for everybody. Yeah. You think this was something interesting that happened?
I mean, it was. And the fun fact being that most of the buyers, they don't even realize that it's not what you are thinking,
All right, Nishant, what do you think in televisions? Was this a interesting trend, or you think it took away innovation?
I think it's detrimental to the brands which were, again, very highly respected back in the day, maybe the 90s, 80s, like the brands that you just mentioned. Mm-hmm. They all had a very strong reputation, and by making TVs, from contract manufacturers for 25,000 rupees, I really don't think they're doing great service to their brand legacy. So I think if anything, it's detrimental. But like Gaurav also said, there are so many current consumers, the new generation, which have no benchmark or context to what these brands were. So for them, it's as good as buying a new brand altogether.
Nishant, a TV that stood out for you in 2022. I might be hearing a Sony or a LG G2 is what I'm predicting.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think for me it was a Sony purely because of one small feature which is IMAX enhanced, and it's the only brand that actually does IMAX enhanced. And I was actually skeptical because I thought it's just another marketing gimmick, but it really works because Sony also has its own streaming service which very few people know. It's called Bravia Pure Stream, and it actually streams some of the movies at 80 Mbps, which is more than 2 times that of Amazon Prime Video or Netflix. So the kind of quality that you can enjoy on that OLED really is on par with the optical disc, which is, I think for me, was a game changer.
Right. And do you want to talk about how much content they have on that?
They have about 100 plus movies, and it's constantly growing, of course, so it's still in its nascent stages.
Yeah, no, I
But
absolutely agree.
If you like,
when you buy a Sony TWS earbud or a headphone also, and you try out some of the spatial audio kind of stuff that they have on their streaming, it's a different world.
It is.
Okay. Predictions for televisions in 2023, Gaurav?
Getting even more affordable.
Achha, okay.
I mean,
but
bada
on the
size
higher end, what do you think is going to be something you're really looking, like Nishant last week was speaking about quantum, right? You think that's something that...
Quantum has to be there, like Samsung needs to do that. Additionally, I would say, 8K will become even more mainstream.
But tell me, isn't that where... I mean, अभी 4K का तो हम लोग को हो नहीं रहा ठीक से, right? So you think we'll be... Isn't 8K just the same as people talking about 6G right now?
See, I mean, TV is something that you buy for years. So it's better to have because you're going to use it for many years.
Okay, Gaurav, let's move on now to something that I think is important because other than smartwatches, this was the hottest category of 2022. TWS, right? First, let me ask you, you think that the taking away of the 3.5mm headphone jack, usne fuel kar diya isko, right? Bluetooth became a little better, usne kar diya. The TWS earbuds became better, that also. Prices came down, 1500 rupees mein you could buy, not very good, but
still decent, yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
But even today, Gaurav, I listened to the best, most expensive TWS earbuds in the market. And then I put on just 300 rupees ke wired headphones. And I'm like, what are we doing? The sound is so different, right? So you think we're on the right path?
I mean, see, eventually wireless is the future. When we like it or not, it is the future. So better ho raha hai. It's good to see, like for example, Apple's improving on the AirPods Pro and all. But abhi bhi again, like if you compare side by side, you will find differences. But eventually, maybe next couple of years, or better ho jayega. So at the end, to fir wireless hona hi hai.
All right, Nishant, what are your thoughts on TWS earbuds? Still the quality up to the mark according to you?
I think the quality is slowly getting up to the mark with on ears and over ears, but it's just the fit, which is something that they need to figure out because, of course, it's physics. You can't have one size that fits all, and I think more often than not, everybody has a very different experience, person to person, with the same in ear. So I think that's something that people have to work towards figuring out. Maybe it could be more options for tips. And I can experience it while I'm talking to you wearing the AirPods Pro. Great sound quality, but they keep, trying to pop out as I'm talking because of the jaw movement. So it's something that they still have to figure out. In terms of sound quality, though, I think there is very little, the delta is reducing a lot. So there's very little in terms of the actual SQL that's different from TWS with on ears or over ears.
Okay, all right. So according to you, TWS earbud of the year would be?
Well, it's going to be a tie between the Sony LS900 for me and the AirPods Pro because the AirPods Pro, I think, are a huge improvement. In fact, of all the new Apple devices this year, the AirPods Pro was singularly, I think, the most improved product. So I think, and anybody who has any Apple ecosystem built around their houses, cars, while they move, the AirPods Pro, of course, are an indispensable gadget to have. And the Sony LS900 because it does almost 90% of what the AirPods Pro do at half the price.
At half the price.
So I think that was very impressive.
Gaurav, anything about the fact that you can now buy a TWS earbud at 800, 900, 1500 and they've also started to kind of deliver. I mean, there is absolutely useless stuff there, very difficult for people to know, but there is good stuff there. So you think that's another great example of where we are going with technology?
It is. I mean, the first TWS being the AirPods, look at the price and look at the prices now for the other options available. I mean, but still I would say, I would recommend, people not to buy the absolute cheap ones. I mean, go somewhere in between, like 3,000-4,000 rupees is a good place, to get some good options.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think of the Nothing ear stick?
Nothing ear stick is a very unique product. I mean, very specifically targeted for the specific audience. I would still go with the Nothing ear ones.
Okay, all right. Okay, and Nishant, something that you think is going to happen in 2023 in the TWS market specifically that could be a game changer? Wish or prediction?
I think the wish would be that the ANC capability gets a lot better, and the whole transparency mode, which is, I think, a great feature to have. And I think just the variability of the efficacy of the transparency mode needs to be addressed, because some of the higher end ones, of course, they do a lot better job at the transparent mode, whereas the less expensive ones, like Gaurav said, they just aren't great at transparency, and they make the human voice very synthesized. It's not very natural sounding. And I think that's going to be a trend going forward, that people are going to put in more work to make transparent mode sound more natural. Okay. Adaptive transparency.
Can I please be asked a question also about it? May I make a wish or a prediction, please?
Please.
Kar loon main, thank you.
Please do.
मेरे को chance ही नहीं मिलता है. Can we please improve the call quality on TWS earbuds? Because I think 50% of the time that's what you really use them for, not only to listen to sound, music or movies. Because even in some of the best ones, the call quality is tinny, and it is just not up to the mark. The noise cancellation does not come into play mostly. Even when you're in a, noise cancellation actually gets filtered out and you just go into ambient mode when you're listening. Noise cancellation should work for the outside, for the inside, and my voice and everything else. Can call quality go to where it should be? I think that's the next big jump that I'm really looking forward to, because that's one of the most used features. Which brings me now to another thing that is really, really important, laptops, okay? Like I spoke about one thing, one of the interesting things in 2022 was laptops from brands that no one had ever heard before, because they started making things in aluminium and metal, while legacy brands were still on plastic. They brought prices down. People were willing to experiment. Now I know your GeoBook experience has left you very depressed. Nishant, did you try out the GeoBook?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you're a lucky man that you've not.
Which is why I'm smiling still.
Okay, so in laptops, what did you see in 2022? First of all, the category. Second, any brands or products that stood out?
I mean, brands tried almost everything, from multiple screens, from folding laptops, from specifically high-end, like the ultimate high-end gaming laptops, to being like the extreme cheap options available. So they have shown us all, but still I feel that there are only a few that shine.
Okay.
I mean, we have seen it all, but still we can pick only a few of them.
Okay. Yeah. So one would be, your favorite Apple laptop of the year was?
The Air M2.
Yeah? You think that really is the standout? Incredible performance at a very, very incredible form factor.
I mean, I switched from the M1 Max Pro 16 to the M2 Air, and I'm enjoying it.
Okay, and a non-Apple laptop that stood out for you?
Non-Apple, I would say
either a brand or a product.
I mean, Asus has done good job, and especially for the students, the Chromebook offerings that they have, like in budget, I think they are doing good.
Okay, great, fantastic. All right, Nishant, what are your thoughts on the laptop market in 2022?
I think it's transitioning to a two-in-one sort of a market as well, because which is what I see a lot of people asking me and calling me for advice. I think they want something that can be a laptop, also a tablet when they're in the mood, when they want to consume. So I think two-in-one is a space that's that's rapidly increasing with choices.
But did anybody execute a two-in-one well in 2022? I can't find one.
HP has just launched the new Spectre 16, which again is slightly on the expensive side, but I think
very
the form
expensive.
factor
You
and the
can
way
buy
they've
a
done it,
great laptop and a tablet for that price.
That's true. But if somebody just wants one, I think it really fits the bill. But apart from that, I think I would have to go with Gaurav in terms of what really moved the game forward. Not so much in terms of form factor, but it's a tiny spec that I think nobody really paid much attention to until Apple keynote, was the performance per watt, which is what really makes the M2S so great. And I'm charging it almost like, like I would have an electric vehicle, maybe once in 3 or 4 days. It's that good. It's actually better than the iPad's battery life. So I think the performance per watt, which is 4 times better than a comparable Windows PC, that really takes the M2 Air into a whole different league.
Okay, fantastic. I completely agree. I think it's a game changer, and I hope that the rest of the market catches up to something like that. Okay, prediction for 2023 in laptops. Wish, prediction, either or both.
A wish is that don't try options which are, I mean, you have 3 screens, 4 screens, or I don't know what. So a laptop, in my eyes, has to be a laptop, just like we have used it till now, because so we have these two-in-ones, all those options. they advertise as, okay, you can use it as a tent mode or a laptop or whatever, but how many times do we actually use, in fashion? So better to focus on good specs at a good price and a good build quality. You might have a laptop like maybe upwards of 2 lakh, but still you can't do a one finger, open test.
Okay.
So I think that should be the thing wherein brand should focus.
Okay, great. Nishant, wish prediction?
Wish is again, something that I said in the first show, which I think I'm going to contradict myself. I really wish that Apple figures out a way to fuse the iPad OS and the Mac OS and make a detachable sort of a.
So Tim's watching this. If you want to just address him directly, you could. Yeah.
Yes, of course, I know. I've already sent out an email, so I'm waiting for a reply since 2014.
Then if you're waiting for the email reply, don't repeat it. Yeah. He doesn't like repetition. You know that, right? Moving on to the last of it all, which of course is the biggest category, continues to be, which is phones. So, what stood out for you in phones? What did 2022 in phones do for Gaurav Chaudhary?
I mean, okay, we are getting charging, like 210 watts, expecting 240 watts now. So it was kind of a thing, but to me personally, I didn't value it as such, but still I think the fast charging and the way, like the exponential graph, the way it's rising, it's phenomenal.
Okay. Yeah. So that's something. But which part would you, if I gave you a choice, incredible battery life but nice and slow?
I'm happy.
Isn't that where they should really, the innovation and all the R&D seems to have gone into faster charging rather than better chemistry for battery, right? I wish
chemistry has been the same
growth hoti in battery chemicals. Can you imagine where we would have been in the last?
Chemistry has been the same since last.
Okay, Nishant, what stood out for you in the phone market?
Nothing really, honestly, Raju, because I think it's, for me personally, it's been the most iterative year in the last few years, because not a single brand, in fact, even I was looking forward to the new Fold series, the new Flip series, but they are just, I think, the most mildest iterations over the last generation. The iPhone, well, apart from the dynamic island and what they did with the notch, and they took an ugly duckling and made it look like a princess, which was great, because I think again it's Apple's progress at software and hardware. In terms of again, what a smartphone does for you, how it changes your life, not much. I mean, I could have still been happy with the iPhone 13 or anything else that I was using last year.
Nishant started with the word nothing.
I know. I was about to come to that. You started with nothing. I was like, acha, really? Straight away, he's hit the nail on the head. So what about nothing, Nishant?
Well, I really hope it's more than a flash in the pan, because I was quite impressed with the phone, just because of the form factor, the novelty value, of course, of the glyph interface. And again, I was slightly disappointed with the ear stick, because it was flashy, yes, but it didn't have the corresponding sound quality to go with that. So I really hope that it's a brand that, I mean, I really am a big fan of the design language. I really hope that they can keep up the momentum in terms of quality as well.
Okay, great. So I think this is what we're really going to close with. I'm going to now ask very quick one sentence ones, right? And this is one of those that, if I was Karan Johar, this would be the basket wala competition between the two of you. Okay. So this is mainly about the future. EVs in 2023 in India. One sentence. Feeling?
Very good.
You think big things are happening?
Very good. Yeah.
Tesla in India in 2023?
No, not happening.
Elon से जब बात हुई थी, नहीं उसने बोला?
मना कर दिया था.
Okay. Nishant, EVs in 2023. First feeling.
They are going to become mainstream.
Yeah. Okay. And Tesla in India? Just because the brand is so associated with it, no?
I don't think it's happening next year at least.
Needs to settle with Twitter first.
थोड़ा सा distracted है ना.
One problem at a time.
One problem at a time. Okay. One of the biggest things that you're waiting for that happens in 2023 that you cannot wait. Come on, Gaurav, the whole world is watching. Millions of people are watching. Gaurav Chaudhary excited by what in 2023?
I think AI becoming even more mainstream, Just like we've seen examples with
But we just saw November, December, people just shocked.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've really seen all that was predicted in 5 years coming true in front of our eyes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
like even getting more mainstream.
Okay. All right. So AI is something that truly excites you. Nishant, the big one, the Nishant, oh my God, I'm actually shaking. Tech moment of 2023 will be?
Flying cars.
This reminds me of the conversation on the episode we had in 2021. So the same answer, Apple VR glasses. We still have to see them. We still have to see a working prototype.
A whole year later, especially since the fact that no leaks have started coming out in the last 6 months, I think you have a long wait ahead. It's not really looking very, very promising for you in 2023 also. Okay, a brand that will come out of nowhere in 2023. Something that you're seeing around the corner, but oh my God, it could be anything. It could be a new platform, it could be a new brand, it could be hardware, software, something that is, you're like, okay, this is where things are going to change.
I think VR glasses would be a thing, as Nishant said. I mean, of course, not from Apple side, I believe, but other brands, because Meta is picking up, and like, AR VR glasses would be the thing.
तो गौरव इसके साथ एक और prediction कर दो. Meta 2023 awesome और ये क्या हो गया?
अभी तो पहले न्यू ईयर देखते हैं कैसा निकलता है, because the graph has been like, yeah, God bless, Mr. Zuckerberg.
All right, same two questions for you, Nishant.
Well, for me, Web3 seems very exciting, and I think we are ready for it, especially if 5G becomes, more prevalent all across the country.
I don't know why I have a feeling
world.
that I don't know why I have a feeling that I'm going to ask you the same question at end of 2023. And you're going to say Web3. Okay, 2024 पे जाएगा ये. Okay, and which is the one thing that you think is going to be the absolute game changer? Meta?
Meta could be, I think they could be on the cusp of something big, because they are, in fact, sort of like a monopoly in terms of the VR space and the mixed reality space right now, and which is why they are just buying companies left, right, and center. Anybody who has anything to do with VR right now, Mark Zuckerberg is in shopping mode. So eventually, I think it's very clear the writing is on the wall. If anything there is to do with virtual reality, Meta's going to be at the forefront of it, maybe controlling it even.
Okay. Mark, the only two humans that actually have some confidence in you, you've met them both today. The rest of the world doesn't think you're going to be able to do it, including me. I think you need to change the name of the company also from Meta, and come up with whatever else you're thinking of doing. Gaurav Chaudhary, Nishant Padhiar, thank you so much for joining me. As always, speaking to the two of you, whether it's on camera or off, is always an education. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you very, very soon. Not necessarily next year, wo to karenge, but I'll see the two of you very, very soon in other places. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me on the Gadget 360 year-ender. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.